What's up, guys? Hades here. IB League season just finished, finals are over, and it's time to talk about that final match. The SF versus SSQ match. I want to go over some of the details, some of the stats, some of the top players, a lot of mistakes I saw. My last video, I got a lot of comments about it being a really great video. People like to see the mistakes they make, which is a learning opportunity. And so, yeah, I have a lot of video ideas about IB, even though the season's over. And I'll be sharing them soon. A big one is just how I score so many points. That'll be coming out in the future. You can see I am miles above everyone in both prosperity and contribution, and we had one less match than everyone, or than a lot of these players that played in the loser bracket. But it's not about that today. It is about this replay. We'll go 4x through and kind of point out some details, kind of middle shot casting, while also talking about the match. So off the rip, we look at middle. We committed 4, 8, 10 to middle, and they only sent 7. So they're down 3 in the middle. And that's going to translate to different numbers elsewhere. So we have 8 at the top, and they have 10. So we're down 2 players at the top, and we're going to hold top for a very long time. I end up coming top as well. And then we look at the bottom. This is going to be 4, 8, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's even at the bottom, but we get this really nice reload here. We had some good spawns, and they didn't have some good spawns, and they ended up not going for this position underneath the tower. So if we take a pause here, this is an easy tower to take because there's no one touching the tower on the bottom, and we have this really pesky player on the side. So if these 3 players go for turret, they're exposing their castle, which just leaves this as a free take if we want to take it. I don't think we take it right away. Middle becomes quite a slaughter with the 3 extra players. This player has to go with an early bubble. This player already bubbled. I think this is a big waste. Only taking 1 hit is not ideal. You want to use your bubbles in a much better way than that. Already 2 hits here, 3 hits here. They are losing pretty hard. We've only taken 2 hits. 3, excuse me. Looking at the top, I'm here in the top right. I had a bad spawn. I had to kind of play safe. But we make this last for a very long time. We delay them. We trade a ton of damage. We already ported a player. They ported a player. We have half HP here, half HP here. 1 hit here, 1 hit here, and half HP there. So we're actually holding our own. We've taken quite a few hits as well. But we just deny them the turret, and we deny them tower 1 for so long that they just mathematically can't come back in the match. And this is what where their numbers advantages was. They have a nice all-in push here. They get it down to like I think 10 seconds, or maybe under 10, and then we kick them. I think that was 7. Very close. That's as close as it gets. And if they had gotten that, this game might have been quite different. But the fact that they didn't get it, and then they sacrificed so much HP to get it, this player's almost gone, that player's almost gone, and there's a bunch of damage here. So we keep chipping them away at them, and anyone who dies is going to come back and reinforce this position. And like I said, we hold this for almost 30 minutes of the match. We're quite active, not letting any players get back here, but our goal is just defense install, knowing that we're winning middle quite hard. Right when it opens, we capture it, boom, we now own the middle, and this has already fallen to pieces for SSQ. We pretty much don't lose anyone, and they lose all 7 of their players, which is a massive defeat. Now we have full rotation on the map. We have center position and full rotation. And of course, we have the bottom lane because we had such a, I'm going to call it a concave. That's a StarCraft term, but it really does matter. This concave, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players touching the tower, when they only have technically 1, kind of 2, and then that player gets ported. So they just have nothing to do. We move up our players and we continue this surrounding of the tower, and they're going for the tower, and you can see all their red lines going for tower 4, which is just never going to work because they have to send their marches, 22 seconds or something like that, and anyone next to tower takes like 6 or 7 seconds. So the amount of time it takes someone like here from the 3rd row to get into the tower and then back, assuming no speed ups, it's just so long. And I can tell this player has the support tree, and they're just trying to force the tower down and force different spread, but it just doesn't work. They're getting pressured. They lose here. They keep losing. SSQ does do a good job holding this position. The game wasn't loading, but they have quite a few players underneath constantly attacking, and this is very annoying, and they're going to stay here for quite a long time. But the thing is, we just have to hold the tower, and the same thing on the top. We just have to deny them the tower. I've moved up to the front. We're just denying. The game is just denial. We've been down 2, 3, 4 players on this tower the whole time. Whenever their players die, they keep coming back here. And we have too many things to cancel at a numbers disadvantage to get rid of everyone. But we have this dominating position middle. Some players aren't quite loading in, but there's like 7 right there. They make a half effort to attack our home, but 3 is usually more than enough. And anyone dies, you just walk back to home. If if it's called, I called for people to just not go too heavily to the home. I said 1 or 2 come from base who die, and then there comes another relocation from someone who's died. Pretty much can't win a 1v3 against half decent players. They're never gonna last very long here. Same thing here. These half effort, these like 2, 3, 4 players versus, it's not loading these players, but versus 8 players, it's just never gonna work. We always have the opportunity to backdoor this, but we just don't need to. Like, we're in a winning position. We own a 3 and they own 1. So we have no reason. We're already up a significant point value. We're up about 18,000 and growing rapidly. And our game state is massive. We don't even have to hold this position and we're still going to win the game. But if I had committed more troops here, we easily could have taken this and held it for a long time. But I chose to just keep it neutral, keep it simple, and keep our 3 towers as we have them. Now, there is pretty much a 45 to 50 minute battle at the bottom. This doesn't get broken for a very long time. We can watch a little bit of this. But I don't like the constant going into tower from a few of these players. When you're in such a disadvantage, it's a waste of your time and your efforts are much better focused elsewhere. It's also very important that players in these positions are next to each other. So I don't like seeing these gaps here, and I don't like seeing players so far off to the side here. I know this player got ported and relocated, but you really want to be relocating probably right there next to your player, or something like this, where you can be defended by more people than they can attack with. I make a teleport play here just to secure this tower. I just trade hits with this player and with this player, get a bunch of free damage. And I pretty much break this position open within the next few minutes because they only had a handful left. We have the numbers, but I noticed that we are quite weak. You can see 1 hit, or this is 2 hits because you do 5k. This is 1-ish, maybe 2, and this is 2 hits. And so I was like, you know what? Let's port down here. Got a ton of pressure, killed a player, nearly killed another player. While my team is just pummeling them down. This player goes down, I get another reinforcement, and then we're winning on the right side. And you'll see that we just slowly win this position in a very relatively swift manner. We finally submit to top. We had a call to fall back, reinforce the center, reinforce the home, and kind of just let this die. They're now massively overcommitted here if you want to count them out. There's so many SSQ players stuck here at the top to finally take it. They're all burning. It's a weak point now. And they're kind of scattering. They have to go to these sun and moon altars to make some sort of last-ditch play. We just have so many people still in the middle. They only have one player here. And they're still really committing for this bottom. And as you can see now, it's been pretty much cleaned up. There's only a handful of players, 1, 2, 3, and a few fringe players, 4, I believe, 4 or 5. And this has just been crushed, really. And there's almost 2-1 now, and there's no way they're ever going to get Tower 4 back at this point in the game. And then the call is just hold what we have, right? Like, in a winning position like this, you don't have to do anything fancy. The game is basically over. They can't really go middle. They can try, and they will try, but they have to take back 2 or 3 from us in the next like minute or so. And mathematically, the game is like almost completely over at this point. There's a 36,000 point lead. They do make a pretty decent effort here at the bottom, and at our home, and it just doesn't pan out. I'm there defending it. We're just almost having fun now. I called everyone to hit them together and a timed attack, and then he forced the bubble. But yeah, this was not that difficult of a finals. The left side of the bracket was very loaded. The tier list held up pretty strong. I definitely think the hierarchy of teams hasn't shifted much. I do think SSQ is a very solid team, and they will beat a vast majority of the teams available in the game, but they just weren't quite on the same level. They even were given our builds by I don't know who, but it's not that hard to find them. So we had equal builds. They had equal opportunity. They even got a bye week to save, but it was just not quite enough. At the end of the day, it all comes down to teamwork, coordination, and group play. And I definitely will have a video in the near future about how to best organize a team and come up with winning plays, really, winning styles. Here's a big push for them in the middle. We have quite the position. And as you can see, I'm always here. I'm always in the action. I know where my opponents are going to go. I say it minutes in advance. We knew they were coming mid. They all were at the sun moon altar. They all relocating here. And we pretty much already squished I'll call it a rebellion at our home. And I just chose to move here. But we just have domination around the tower. They can't even get a castle close enough to touch. The only spot they can go is right here, which they kind of try, but it's just not enough. And even if they took all 5 towers at this moment, they literally just cannot win through the math. But yeah, that was the match. There was quite a few, I would call them macro errors from SSQ. It was the overcommittal to the bottom side with the bad positioning. It was the inability to crush the top side fast enough. And then it was the lack of reinforcements in the middle at multiple points during the game. And so all of these mislocations of players and poor rotations and just being slow to the play and being disorganized is pretty much the main reason they lost. You can see this just like random fighting here in the middle. Like, these players should be somewhere else. If they're somewhere else, these players still aren't moving. They're just going to be here defending. So you might as well be in the top winning this tower, or you might as well go to the bottom helping win the tower, right? Instead of being wasted effort in a position that's not going to be taken. So yeah, that was the finals. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. It was a very fun season that is 3 in a row for my squad, my ego squad. If you guys have any specific IB questions and want to let me know, I can definitely try and answer them in a video in the future, and I will catch you guys in the next one.